Neil, how concerned are you as a manager of a Scottish Premiership team that just 2 weeks into the new season we've seen a game called off?
Yeah, very concerned. It's obviously a very unfortunate incident, and obviously there's serious ramifications for the game. So it's just a reminder to all the players and staff that we have to be on our guard all the time and follow the protocols the right way. So it's very disappointing, obviously. Disappointing for Aberdeen as a club, and obviously St Johnstone now the game's called off as well.
The First Minister has been very clear in her message today. She says the players' behaviour was unacceptable. How confident are you that your players are aware of what they can and can't do and their responsibilities?
Well, we made them aware again this morning. When the lockdown, if you want to call that, was eased a little bit, I think a lot more people were relaxed about things. But obviously, we have to be so careful, and it's a very fine line. And so they've been reminded now that we can't go out and socialise or open ourselves up to any sort of finger pointing. It's basically a question of training ground, home games, and unfortunately that's the way it's got to be until things get better.
Of course, you are due to play Aberdeen in 8 days' time. That would still include the isolation period for some of the group affected. Do you have concerns about your fixture and your plan for that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, obviously we're still a little bit. At this minute it's up in the air whether we know whether the game's going to go ahead or not.
Obviously, the calendar this year is so condensed, especially for teams like Celtic who are playing on so many fronts. If this situation arises, would you accept postponements, or do you think that any team unable to play should waive the fixture?
That's a good question. It's one that never really crossed my mind. I'm not a big lover of waiving the points. I think for the sake of the game that it's postponed and played at a later date. Whether that can be provided or not, that date can be provided, I don't know. So it's ideally, you'd want to kick it down the line and play it later.
Within those protocols, Neil, are your players allowed out? Are they allowed out to socialise in restaurants and bars?
Well, I know a few of them have been out in restaurants and adhering to the protocols of said establishments, but obviously after what's happened now, then I think we're going to have to nip all that in the bud.
Can you understand how difficult that can be?
Absolutely, yeah. I've sympathy for a lot of guys and a lot of the boys. We've had the whole lockdown for 2 or 3 months. We've had no football, but now if we want to extenuate and extend the season, then we're going to have to follow really strict guidelines and probably go back to the way it was before in terms of just training ground, home, maybe walk to the shop, get your amenities and go home again.
That was kind of drastic steps we're going to have to take to get this season complete.
It looks that way to me, at the minute. This is really sort of blown up, and obviously there's a cluster in Aberdeen. The city's on a lockdown, and unfortunately, some of the players have been caught up in that. And I hope, I should touch on this, that the player with COVID, I hope he makes a speedy recovery. I hope he comes through it okay.
Is there an annoyance, Neil, from your part in that, as you mentioned, your players are stuck to this rigidly and followed all the protocols?
Look, at the end of the day, they've made a mistake, and a lot of attention, probably unwanted attention, is on them now, and that should act as a reminder for the rest of us as well. They've made a mistake. The clubs and everyone associated with the clubs is suffering for it. So it's like everything else with this pandemic, you learn as you go along.
Nicola Sturgeon in a briefing said today that the Scottish Government will be speaking to managers and team captains just to reinforce those sort of protocols. Have you had those meetings yet, or was that said to take place?
Not yet, no, but looking at the first minute, there's coach is very stern on it, and very tunnel vision on it, she's not happy, and obviously it's a warning for the rest of us now that we must not trip up again. This is a real blow, but hopefully one we can all overcome.
about the fact that players might need to go back to being training ground home games. Is it a sacrifice that you need to remind the players that they need to make, given the special dispensation that has been given to allow Scottish football to resume?
I think we can't go out and attack players for this. I think they're entitled to have some sort of life away from a training ground environment, but obviously that's not going to be the case because this is such a contagious disease, and obviously it's dangerous as well. So, like I say, it's a warning for everyone that you can't sort of take chances with this and stick to the protocols. I'm not going to point fingers at Aberdeen and this, that, and the other. It's unfortunate, and hopefully we can, like I say, come back from this as quickly as possible.
Am I right in thinking that since that Aberdeen situation, you've now tightened it all up again?
I think we've had to, yeah.
What's the players' response to that?
They accept that, and they will accept it, and then we'll see how it goes over the next few weeks. The one thing we don't want is for, the shutdown again, not just in sport, but culturally, socially. We want people to have some sort of life. But in terms of the players and my staff and myself, we have to be really strict now and knuckle down.
Can I ask you just a slight aside from that you're obviously still trying to go and recruit players. Can you give us an update on players potentially coming in, Stephen Fletcher's situation?
Well, talks are ongoing at the minute, so nothing more on that, nothing confirmed.
Is Bio away?
There's I'm pretty sure Bio's going to join Toulouse on loan.
And forgive me for this, has anybody moved to the front as in, I know you're spinning plates with it, but is Ayeti now back on?
Ongoing talks as well with that one.
Is there anything in the Lyle Taylor stuff?
Well, I mean, you can look. We've been linked with a lot of players, but there's nothing in that at the minute now.
Just on the signing strategy, you mentioned after the game at the weekend that you were looking for 3 players. Do you think did you always have 3 players, look at a centre half, a striker, and you speculate on what you need? Are you reacting to, in a way you think there's a need to get a centre half in more than a striker?
No. I need a centre half in, and because Jozo, we didn't take the option up with Jozo, and I think we need to add to the centre forward position.
You've got a feeling with Fletcher, Neil, is that you get over the line?
Just have to wait and see, Ron.
On Ayeti, his agent suggesting you're close to something. You've had talk.
I'm not aware of how close we are to, doing that. I know that the talks are ongoing, and that's all I can basically say on it. That's my position at the minute. It may or may not happen, as is the case with a lot of deals that, we're trying to negotiate at the minute.
The window's open till October, Neil, but with the Champions League qualifiers coming in, are you hopeful of sort of more or less concluding your business before sort of the run-in of those consecutive European fixtures so you can build a squad?
It would be good, to get a couple more bodies in, and then obviously you can name them in the UEFA lineup as well. So there's a mountain of work being done behind the scenes.
In terms of the game then this coming Sunday, your thoughts on Kilmarnock? They didn't start the league the way they wanted to, but still a dangerous opposition, especially.
Yeah, I thought they were unfortunate to lose the game. I thought they had a lot of possession against Hibs. And we know that Rugby Park, the venue's a difficult place to go, really difficult. And, Alex is a very good coach, and he's probably got that sort of foundation that he and Steve built on. I know Angelo was sort of sandwiched in between the two of them, but they're a team I respect. They've got really good, solid players, and tactically they're very difficult to break down at times.
Any bids for any of your players at the moment?
No, nothing. Not a thing.
Just finally, just back to the COVID thing, are you satisfied, in terms of all the guidelines, all the protocols that come from government, SFA, whatever? Has that always been clear as far as you're concerned in terms of the information that's been coming to the football clubs?
Yeah, pretty much so, yeah. In terms of the players going out now, I don't think we can, take that chance anymore. I think we just have to sort of bite the bullet a little bit for the next however length of time it is until things settle down a little bit more, and we just have to adhere to the guidelines. I think the players in the main here have been absolutely excellent. We've had 2 rounds of testing now for the last 6-7 weeks, whether it be with the players and the staff, and thankfully they've all come back negative. So whatever they're doing the right things, and it's just to be reminded that, you know, we can't be lax on stuff like this.
We keep talking about it, but this season is so important for so many reasons, and for it to be either scrapped or judged with issues off the field, there's not the way anyone wants it, especially for Celtic, I suppose.
Look, regardless of what's at stake, we've had a long layoff from football, and that, you know, nobody wants that, and we certainly don't want to go back to that. I think in the main, the country has handled the situation as well as anyone possibly could have, you know, without, you know, having all the knowledge and the facts in front of them. We've opened up a little bit, and we just have to be careful that, you know, we don't see more spikes elsewhere. Otherwise, we have to go back to the way it was, and that's the last thing anybody would want.
Any omissions or additions to your squad for Sunday?
Greg Taylor, he's still a little bit ginger on the ankle, but he trained today, so he should be fine. Griff still is unavailable, so we'll have to wait and see how he is for next week.
Unavailable. Did he train today? He wasn't in the open park training today.
No.
Has he got another issue?
He's got another calf strain.
Did Mikey Johnson get his operation?
Not yet, no. So we're still waiting on just trying to get a slot for that.
Is Fletcher or Yeti fit?
Hope so. Okay, guys.